Guys, welcome to Halloween Daily. Thanks so much for hanging out today.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Or thanks.
This is exciting to have you both here at the same time and to be able to talk about Little Bites, this awesome, cool new movie that you have coming out. It's coming out this Friday as we're recording this. And I watched it a few nights ago and just was really blown away, really powerful, and really enjoyed it.
Oh,
So
thank you.
congratulations on a job well done.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Yeah. Thanks so much.
Spider, we'll start with you. You wrote it, you directed it. It's another twisted tale from your out of your mind. What was the kind of origin of this story? Where did this project begin for you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a parent. Me and Krsy are parents together.
Mhm.
And a day doesn't go by where in some way you feel like Mindy Vogel in this movie where you're doing your best and you're trying the best and you're a good person and you're trying to protect your kids and do the right thing, and something always seems to be stepping into your life to make that journey impossible. So of course, being immersed in horror, what better way to represent that than with a flesh-eating monster named Agar that lives in the basement. So yeah, it really did. And, it was a very personal concept for me. But be able to wrap it in this package is really why we make these kind of movies. It becomes incredibly fun and an interesting way to represent real life uh, situations and real life drama. So yeah, that's really where it all started.
Excellent. And yeah, it does feel personal when I'm watching it. I mean, it feels and again, being a parent, like you said, a lot of this hits home with me and I feel the undertones that you're talking about. Krsy, it's great to see you and talk to you again. It's been a
You
while. We
too.
talked it was a few years ago around the release of Frank
Yeah.
when we talked before. And of course, we're big fans and your work in this movie, man, I mean, this might be your best performance yet, in my
Thank
opinion.
you.
Anyway, I just really again just powerful. But it also feels like it could have been a very draining role. I mean, I know the character is kind of being drained physically, but mentally, emotionally, was it? And if so, how did you work through that? And if not, how did you avoid it becoming so?
I mean, it was a lot. It was very yeah, I got into like this really dark place and I had to kind of stay there because we shot 12 days straight and I just didn't want to fall out of the character and I just sort of lived her existence. So I would go home at the end of the day after shooting, and the good thing was my daughter was there, and my little niece Lexi, who came and helped us on set. She's like very she's passionate and wants to be an actress, so she came to set, and honestly, just having them at the end of the day and like just sort of around and feeling like the love of children actually really helped me and made me not lose my mind. But no, it took me after I finished shooting this film, it took me almost a month to feel like myself again. I'm a really bubbly, outgoing person, and I just felt like it really took a toll. I was always exhausted, physically and also mentally, and crying and having that, it's weird. Like there were moments in this film where I was like, I don't feel like I'm acting anymore. I'm just really sad about whatever the other character is throwing at me. And I just felt like I almost lost control of my emotions. And that really works for this character because that's her all the time. She's trying to control herself. She's trying to put something out there, but like you could always see on her face that she's really angry or she's really upset or she's really afraid and she's really trying to hold it together. And I really related to the character, having a daughter and always being afraid of the world, afraid of protecting her, and also, there's elements of abuse here and struggling with addiction and things like that, they're heavy subjects. And whether it was myself or people I was close to, I've been close to those type of struggles, and I could just really put a lot of that into the character too. And yeah, there was not really many moments you'd see Mindy smile. I remember the day Heather Langenkamp came on set, and that was sort of the one really nice moment in the movie. And I kind of was like, whoa, this is like, why is she being so nice to me? No one's been nice to me, And so I think it was much needed. I think that was day 10 and I was just like beaten down at that point. So yeah, I mean, it was really rewarding as an actress to get to do something like this, but yeah, physically and mentally, it was very overwhelming as well.
Well, you pulled it off. I mean,
Thank
again,
you.
I mean, yeah, it was so powerful, and again, I felt all those personal touches as watching it, and just knowing that you guys are parents and working on it together. Obviously, yeah, I really enjoyed it for all those aspects.
Thank
Um,
you.
I'm curious about the character of Agyar. You mentioned the flesh-eating monster in the basement. Is he based on any pre-existing lore or mythology, or what was kind of the inspiration for him?
I mean, for me, it was really trying to create a unique monster. You know, I've said this in the past with other interviews, is we've got our Jasons and our our Michael Myers that are sort of like silent killers, and then we've got our Chuckies and our wisecracking, monsters or whatever. I thought there was a real space for a monster that is intelligent, articulate, and manipulative, and also that the psychological torture that he puts on Mindy is in some ways worse than the physical torture.
Yeah.
So to this concept of little bites, it's not just about the physical, it's about what he says to her, that he's in her head, about every doubt and fear she has as a parent. And I just wanted there to be a level of cruelty to him, and he's almost in arrogance, that he's sort of this untouchable being that has her in his control. So we really tried to be thoughtful about trying to find this unique spot for him, and then as well as physically creating something that was not quite human, but human enough that it was relatable, and that John was able to give a real performance through the prosthetics. And I think that he did an amazing job. John Sklaroff and our effects team did an amazing job helping us create this guy, this thing, that can almost pass as human, but certainly not human at all.
I hope there's nothing walking around that looks like that. I'm very afraid.
Yeah, and he is. I mean, all the things you said. I mean, that is a lot of what I liked, and just kind of this uniqueness that he is a little bit different from some of the other creatures and villains we've seen, and like you said, like some of that psychological torture is in many ways like even worse than the physical torture.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think that's when when you talk about Krssy's performance. I mean, it really is. It would be one if he was just groaning in the dark and biting her.
Right.
It's a terrifying scenario. It's scary, but like, what really is powerful are the conversations they have. Mm-hmm. There's a scene, which is one of my favorite scenes, where he sings her a song, and it's just so incredibly mean and awful, the things he puts in this little lullaby. And for me, those are the things that are most exciting in the movie. Those kind of, you just feel gross when you watch it. You just want out of there, You
feel gross when you're doing it too, just so you know.
Well, again, I mean, I did feel all those things. So mission accomplished, I think. Awesome. And again, I mean, it's working on these levels, and you've both already kind of hit on it. But ultimately, at the end of the day, what are each of you kind of hoping that audiences are gonna walk away with, aside from feeling some of these feelings that you've described?
I mean, look, you hope that people love what you do, and you hope that the goal is, certainly in the horror world, it's like you want to create, the horror world and the fandom is such a unique place to exist in, because as evidence of your background, there are movies that are 40 years old probably, and they're still relevant to people. They still live in they revisit them every year, and I think that that would be such a wonderful thing to be able to create movies that fall into that category. I mean, specifically for Little Bites, I mean, I just want people to let the movie, just sink into it, let it flow over them, fall into that dark tone that Mindy's living in. In fact, I'm surprised. We screened it at Fantastic Fest, and I hadn't watched it in a while. And we were watching it with an audience. I was like, oh my God, this is dark. This is dark, So I was like, it played much darker than I remembered it. And I was, very happy about that. So, yeah. those are all the things that hopefully get out there into the world.
Yeah, I mean, I just hope it scares people because and surprises people because I think the film is a journey and it's if you stick with it and you sit through the dread and the uncomfortableness, which there's a lot of uncomfortableness in this film, intentionally, and then you get something out of it. But I think also there's a lot of messages in this film, and I think the biggest one is just to you don't always know what's going on with someone behind closed doors, and maybe just not passing judgment so quickly, and maybe instead of just assuming that there's something wrong with them or they're disgusting or they're disappointing, maybe extend a hand and ask them if they're okay, ask if you can help them. I think that's sort of what Mindy gets from almost everybody in this film. And I think we can all relate. We've all been in a position like that in our life where it's just like, you don't know what I'm dealing with right now. And if one more person comes at me, I'm going to snap. And yeah, so I think that it's a really important message. And hide your kids because it's a scary world.
Yes, absolutely. Words to live by right there. For our last few minutes, if you'll indulge us, obviously every day's Halloween, and now it's actually Halloween for everybody right now as we're speaking. And Krsy, when we talked before, we talked a little bit about celebrating Halloween in y'all's house and growing up. So Spider, I'd love to hear from you. I mean, I imagine you were pretty big into Halloween growing up as a kid. Am I right in assuming that?
Yeah, I mean, Halloween has always been the number one holiday, and even as a little kid, I think it rivaled Christmas. It was just, I mean, ever since I can remember, we would build graveyards in our backyard and whatever, and we would build, me and Rob would build like haunted mazes in our basement, and we'd charge the neighborhood kids like 25 cents to go through, and we'd just jump out at them and scare them. And so it's always remained a huge part of our lives. And living in Los Angeles now, I definitely feel like Halloween is bigger than Christmas, between Not Scary Farm and Universal Horror Nights and the a million things that you can do around Halloween. It's by the time Halloween hits, I feel like we've already celebrated Halloween like 14 times, so
yeah. And it's wonderful that we get to stretch it out so much now. We always try to ask everybody, what is your favorite Halloween costume that you've ever worn and your favorite Halloween candy?
You're the candy eater. I'm not a candy eater.
I am the candy. Well, okay, so I'm from Canada, and it's different than the Smarties in the US. We have Smarties up in Canada. They're like kind of like M&Ms, but like, I hate to say it, but better. So that's my favorite candy that I would get. And my favorite Halloween costume, oh boy, I feel like every year it changes. Now I'm kind of having more fun with our daughter and like dressing her up. And I mean, I'm trying to think what my absolute favorite costume I've ever done was. I don't know. Come back to me. What was your favorite, Spider?
I mean, I have a distinct memory as a kid. Because when I was a kid, like we were also obsessed with the band Kiss. So like we would learn how to do the Kiss makeup and then combine it with whatever other. So I would be like Peter Criss, but dressed as like a ninja, and it was like it always had to have some, or you put Gene Simmons makeup on and be a zombie, so yeah. I always remembered having some infusion of Kiss in a Halloween costume when I was a kid.
Well, this one isn't mine, but I'm actually pretty proud of our daughter. So our daughter got deeply obsessed with Zombieland over the past couple of years. She's just 5, but this was like a couple of years in now. And we went to Disneyland, she got a princess dress, and it was like the Sleeping Beauty dress. And so I'm thinking, oh, she's like, I want to wear this for Halloween. I'm like, that's amazing. She's like, yeah, I want to be one of the little zombie girls at the beginning of Zombieland, all the little princesses that attack the woman and eat her. And I'm like, okay, yes. So I think that's going to be an awesome costume. Most people won't get, but it's pretty creative.
Yeah. Oh, well, she wanted to be Tallahassee from Zombieland, but
yeah, she's obsessed with Woody Harrelson. Like, no little girl should be that obsessed with him, but she is.
Oh, I love it. Do you guys have big plans yet for this coming Halloween?
Well, I mean, through the season, I have Little Bites coming out and I have Terrifier 3 coming out. So I'm going to be doing seeing a lot of movies and going to the premieres and doing that. So that's been really fun because they're both they got me really in the Halloween headspace. So that, and then I think, we always trick or treat. We have to trick or treat. And then in LA, we always do, you know, horror nights. We just did the haunted hayride. We got to do like Delusion. We're going to do Creep, which is like a big immersive thing that we love to do. So yeah, we'll just do all the events and, you know, go to the horror coffee shop, which we love to do, and all the things.
Awesome, awesome. And I know I've only got probably about a minute or so left, but you mentioned Terrifier 3. We're all obviously so excited for the film and to see you in it. Is there anything at all you can tell us about your role in Terrifier 3?
It's one of the craziest things I've ever done. I can tell you that. And it's I feel like it's a very scary part of the film. Like I think like that whole section, it feels very scary. And I just loved the experience. I just think it was just, I've never been around that much blood and effects, and I've been doing horror movies for a long time. So it really lived up. And I think the most special part was my daughter got to come to set, and she's been obsessed with Art the Clown since she was like 2. So she got to come on set and meet him in full costume, and that was like, that was almost as thrilling as shooting the film. But no, now seeing it, and I've seen it twice now, I don't think anybody's ready for what they're in for. It is insane. And people are like, are they going to top 2? They top 2. I'm just saying.
All right. Well, that's got me excited and ready to go. Excellent, excellent. All right. Well, I know you guys are both super busy today, but this has been awesome just talking to you both, and I really appreciate you taking the time. And as we're recording this, Little Bites comes out this Friday, October 4th. Yeah. It's going to be out. Of course, Terrifier 3 is not far after that, but yeah, I know our audience is going to love it. And again, thank you for hanging out. And of course, we want to wish you a very, very happy Halloween.
Thank you. Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween to you.